Welcome to the farm.
Welcome to the farm. I'm Justin, and in the last video we worked on clearing this area out, getting ready for our temporary garage we're building for our empty case tractor. It's a pretty cool video, check it out if you haven't already. We used the homemade rock bucket to move a ton of logs and firewood and that kind of stuff, and we even used the Kubota to lift up a small little building out of the ground. So go check that one out, I'll put a link in the description. But anyway, I ended that one where we got this area all cleaned out, ready for the garage, and we need to do some grading. And I don't have any dirt available to fill this, to grade it, so we need to get some. And I have another project that we need to do that will get us some dirt. So here's the other project. We have a grading issue coming down to the barn. We got this big slope here. I don't know how well it shows up in the camera, but it's a pretty steep slope. That slopes right down towards the barn, and there's not enough back slope away from the barn. So in spring, when we have the snow melt and the ground's still frozen, all that water runs down the hill and through the barn, through my workshop. And having streams in your workshop is not ideal. I mean, it doesn't flood or anything, but it just, because I have a dirt floor, muddy mess, and things are just, you know, the floor's wet. And the other side of the garage, the door where we park our gator, actually froze to the ground because it was just probably about 2 inches thick of ice when it refroze. So we need to take care of that. So the plan is to clean all this stuff out of here. We got a bunch of stuff that we've been stacking up over the last couple years. Get that all cleaned up and moved like we did the spot for the garage. And then come through here and start pulling dirt out and grading. And whatever dirt we pull out from doing the grading around the two sides of the barn here, we will use to fill in for the garage. The first thing I need to move is our original chicken tractor. I built this with our first round of meat birds, so it's probably been about 4 years or so. It worked really well. The downside was getting the meat birds out of it at the end. The top of the tractor is only like 3.5 feet tall, if that, so trying to crawl in there without putting your hands and your knees and stuff on the ground with all the chicken poop and get all the way back to grab the birds was really difficult. So we only used it the one time. We moved it over here thinking we'd use it as a backup. We did use it to house some sick chickens here and there until they got better. But basically it's been sitting here for 4 years, and this has predator wings on the sides of it, so it's grown into the ground pretty hard. So hard that my tractor can't even lift it. I have to rip the wings off of it just to get it loose enough to pull out. I'm going to set it here next to my trailer. At some point I'll have to come out here and take the whole thing apart, and we'll use the pieces for other projects and whatever. But I just need to get it out of the way so I can get the grading done. Now I can work on moving these hog panels. We use these hog panels when we get our little piglets. We set up a 16-foot by 16-foot area with T-posts and fencing to get them used to the farm, and once they get kind of used to the farm, we set up a side with electric fence and remove one of the panels to get them trained on electric fence. We have a whole playlist of doing that process. I'll put that down in the description if you want to check it out. We need to find a better place to store these things. So we picked up all these cinder blocks to make a evaporator for maple syrup, and this was our second attempt at it before we bought the evaporator we're using currently. So now these have sat here for 2 years. We'll find a use for them eventually, so we don't want to get rid of them, but we need to move them to a better spot. And I'm going to try to get all these in one load. Let's see how it works. I have no idea how much that pallet of cinder blocks weighs, but it is obviously at the limit of my lift capacity for my tractor. I'm not worried about the back end coming up. I got a pretty good counterweight on the back, but it's definitely at the limit of the hydraulics. I love my Pallet Forks. It's probably my most used loader attachment around the farm. However, sometimes I wish these forks were a little easier to spread apart. Sometimes they slide right across, no problems, and other times they bite me a little bit like they are right now. The last thing I need to clean up is this pile of lumber. It's old deck and dock boards from my parents' cabin. They got some new ones a couple years ago and asked me if I wanted lumber, so I took them, and it's really come in handy. I've made most of the shelves in the barn out of it, and we also made a firewood storage out of it. So it's been great having it. We're going to keep all this. We're just going to go find a better spot for it. Alright, so now that we got the side of the barn all cleaned up, the section where we're putting the garage we got cleaned up in the last video, we can go ahead and start ripping out all these little bushes and trees that grew up in the last 4 years. Get those cleaned out, and then we can see what we got for grade and come up with a plan to divert water away from the barn. Now that that's all ripped out, I want to fill in this hole where we had an apple tree. I cut down the apple tree the first year I moved in because the tree was growing into the barn and into the roof. And it's been sitting now for probably about 3 years. And last year I had an excavator on the farm and I dug the stump out and returned the excavator and just never got around to filling in the hole. So we're going to do that now. Alright, so we got all our junk picked up here by the side of the house. I call it junk, but really it's usable building materials and stuff that we use for projects all the time. It's better to have it and use it later than not have it. So we got all that cleaned up, and we got all the scrub brush ripped out of here, cleaned up. We kind of filled in where that apple tree stump was. Good enough for now, but you can really see how much this slope really comes down to the barn and how flat it is here. It doesn't swale back from the barn at all. So I want to start kind of cutting in here, maybe work this hillside out a little bit and just create a swale to get the water to go out. And then we'll also have to do some grading over by the gator side of the barn where that door is, because right now it's all pitched and the water runs in the door, freezes the door shut in winter, and every time it rains it just gets to be a muddy mess in there. So hopefully we can get that fixed too. Kind of ran out of time today, so this is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like it. We'd really appreciate it. Consider subscribing. Obviously we got a lot more grading to do here. We got the garage to build. We got lots of other fabrication building projects coming up this winter. We got animal processing stuff, all kinds of great stuff coming up. So consider subscribing so you don't miss that. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.